Hey guys, welcome to another one of our reviews. I'm the Worm, and this is the Proton. Today we're going to be reviewing an item that we did receive free of charge from cool-breeze-e-cigs.com. Obviously this will not taint our review on this item in question. It will be a true and honest review as always.
Today we are doing the variable voltage lava tube kit from cool-breeze-e-cigs.com.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Yeah, we're doing a lava tube kit. It is the mini lava tube, $49.95 for the entire kit. Not too bad, just under a nifty. So yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Get a nice little presentation box with this one. It says variable voltage e-cig on the front, and then basically once you flip it open, you get all of that in there. It's an instruction manual, which is quite handy because a lot of them you don't get it with. You've got a couple of C4s here. You've got the lava tube itself there. There's a couple of 900 mAh 18 350 batteries, and you also get yourself a little single bay charger with a UK plug on there as well, which I think is pretty good. To be honest with you, I haven't really looked at the instructions when I've done it now. Didn't really feel like I had to, so I'm going to take a couple of these bits up, put it all together whilst we're on as a flat.
Yeah, basically it just got the instructions in it. It says power button, click 5 times to turn it on and off. Obviously standard. For any kind of like this kind of variable voltage big mod, and one click on the power button does tell you your own resistance, which is a little bit different to other mods. There's normally a separate button, but on this one it's just one click on the power button will tell you your resistance and all that. The actual activation button is on the side, which is a little bit different because you've got 3 buttons to tweak all your settings and turn it on and off, and then you've got an actual 4th button on the side, which is quite big to actually activate the device when you've got the device in there.
Yes, basically before we get it all together, show you exactly what I've just pointed out, with maybe a bit of glare on the screen, hopefully not. Basically what you've got there, hopefully you can see, it's an atrocious amount of glare, isn't it?
It is atrocious.
Oh, we've gone out of focus now.
Too far?
There you go. I'll try and tilt it, there you go guys. You've got a 3 button on the front, and then you've also got your 5 button around there. So basically what you've got there, your top 2 is your up and down, your plus and minus for your volts. And then your button underneath that is your on and off. So you click the miniature sort of bottom button 5 times to turn it on or off, or check your ohms if you just click it once. And then the volts is adjusted by your top right and top left button, which is pretty cool.
Everything that come in the kit?
No.
You get 2 18-350s, which are 900 mAh each. Is it C4s or is it C4s?
No, these are C4s, cut of C4s.
2 C4s, throwaways that you can just use to get you up and running on the device, and charger.
Single bay charger.
Bay charger, there you go.
I can't even know if I've said it or not. It doesn't say what these these batteries are, but they are for 18 350 900 mAh. I'd imagine they're probably truss fires or something. It just doesn't have anything on it. Basically, literally unscrew the bottom, plug your battery in, and screw it on the cap.
They are
it's
flat
as simple
tops.
as that. Flat tops, but it will take flat or button tops. So that's good if you take both, because it means obviously when it comes time to replace them batteries, you've got more options available to you. And literally just screw the bottom cap on. You have got a vent hole, you can see it there. For those of you who haven't worked this out already, this is chrome, because of the amount of glare you're getting off of the blooming thing.
The threadings aren't too bad. I don't say they're the best threadings out there, but for its price, they're not bad threadings.
I don't think they're great threadings. I think they're okay.
Yeah, they're just average, aren't
they? The body itself, it's very light, this, for its size, compared to sort of other mods we've used around this size. It is very light. And the threadings, they're okay, but if I take the battery out, when you're just trying to sort of, if you know where it is, it's fine, but when you're searching for it, trying to push against the spring when you've got a battery in there, sometimes it can be a wee bit fiddly. They're not bad at all, but they're not the best either, okay? This is a prime example. I can't get the bloody, there we go, things on now. And it's literally a case of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you get a little red screen. We will try and show you this screen. I don't know if we're going to be able to, and I'm definitely going to have to get up. Right, let's have a look. Can we see that screen?
No.
Not a chance in hell. Basically, when you put your screen on, it's fairly simple stuff. You've got 3 to 6 volts, and everywhere in between in 0.1 increments, and it will round robin. So you go from 3, press minus, it takes 6, and get the 6, press plus, and it'll take you to 3. Very good stuff. You've got a fairly decent size drip well in there, just about make that out. And you've also got 510 and ego threaded, so your C4s, your hangers, and all that kind of stuff will plop in there just nicely. We put a C4 on it just purely because that's what you get in the kit, so we'll have a little bit with this as you get it in the kit.
And you got
2.5 ohms.
There you go.
2.5 ohms. You also, because we can't show you this, on other mods you have your own sort of button, or you have a sequence to do in order to see your battery power. On this, it's permanently on screen. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. To the glass of Coke. You basically, the battery power is permanently on screen. So if you check your Amazon items, for example, it will say 2.5, and then you've got a little battery indicator, and obviously it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. 4 bars is 4 when it empties the bars as it goes down. Which again I think is nice. It's nice to have as much information on display as possible. The screen is tiny, proper tiny, but you see everything you need to see, so that's pretty good.
It's not unreadable by any stretch of the word. It is very clear, except for on camera, obviously, because there's the red just doesn't want to show through on the camera. So,
but yeah, it's actually to be fair, I've used this in bright sun conditions and stuff, and you can see it just fine, even with the sun behind you and stuff. So it's not bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, you like that because of the chrome, but you can definitely see what's going on the screen, despite the fact it's nice and small. So yeah.
What is the actual body made of? Is it Ali?
I don't think so. I think this is chrome. I think this is chrome dipped brass.
Chrome dipped brass. Okay.
This is not a guarantee, but I would say with a high amount of confidence this is chrome dipped brass. And obviously being chrome, it is a fingerprint magnet. So just be aware of that. And I ran into my first problem, which is if you screw a CE4 all the way down, you cut off airflow altogether. So loosen up, like I'm alive.
Oh, good. Yeah, so it is a very light mod. It's very nice to use though. It's not uncomfortable by any means. It's kind of what I would say is kind of one of those stealth fake mods where you can kind of hide it in your hand. Prime example right there. But yeah, it is very small. I mean, I think that we've looked through the website and we can only see that it's only the mini lava tuber you get for this money. So, but you can get it in black or silver, I believe. So,
it's yeah, it's quite nice. It's a little vote. Like I say, we're using the C4 on it just because that's what you get in the kit. As you can see, you get in a fair amount of vapour off that. I mean, it's performing like a C4 does on an Ego, but slightly better because it's got a bit more power to kick in. It's regulated a bit better. It's lemon. I filled that out the other day. But yeah, so it's actually not bad performing little device. Whilst Worm's having a cheeky little vape, I mean, I've been the one that's kind of been really using and abusing this. Worm has used it. A few little things to point out. The fire button on the side, you think it's going to be a bit sort of weird, and when you first pick it up, it is for 5 minutes, but it's actually quite nice. It's a very clicky. I don't know if do you want to show them? It's got kind of like it's a sort of semi-firm press and a click, which is nice because even if you do accidentally leave it on in your pocket, I think you'd be struggling to sort of activate that a lot. It has got a cut off for if you just hold that power button down. I believe it's about 8 seconds. Or that's what I counted to before I got a massive headache. Before it cut
basically,
out.
he was trying to see how long he could do a lung pull for, and then he died.
I did do that. But yeah, it's a fairly good little mod. Be aware you got your cone on the top there, guys. Unlike sort of other mods, especially things like mechanical, like Master Glue 19, for example, it's got sort of almost flat top. If you were looking to sort of flush mount certain things on this, the 510 does protrude just slightly.
It's just like half a mil.
It's very little.
But it will give you that gap. So if you are one of these people that are irate about having flush mounted devices and that, you might have to file this down a little bit.
Yeah, you might, but to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what the diameter is up the top here, but it looks about 16, 17 mil. So something like the iGo F, which I have actually got, let's have a look. iGo F is 17.5 mil, but something like that could probably look pretty good. No, well, we've still got a bit of a gap at the top there, but you won't be able to see it on camera. But I mean, something like that looks pretty good. All in general, just it has got that cone, so just be aware. Decent sized drip ball ego and all that stuff. Are you about to go for a rabbit or?
Oh, I was waiting. I thought you had something else coming up. I was like,
rabbit.
I was expecting something else to come into play. Issues with this device. Do want to go into these quite quickly. Battery life. Mr. Proton's gone through 3 350s in the space of 6 hours.
I want to make a correction there. I'm actually on the 5th.
There we go.
18650, and it's not. It's more like now 9 hours. The problem I've had with this device in terms of battery life, and I have checked this, is obviously it gets to the point where the battery's low. That kicks in very quick, where it's saying the battery's low and it'll kind of flash at you, but then you can continue using it for like an hour and a half after that, so it's kind of like a misread on the battery. Then when it gets to the point where it literally is dead, won't power the device, and I was saying to him last night, I looked at him and said, this doesn't seem legit to me. Tested the battery, still had 3.7 volts out of the 4.2, so we were only at 50% battery life, and it was telling me it was dead. Now, whether it's because this requires more power or whatever else, I don't know. Whether the shut-off is a bit too premature again, don't know. But it has been the most frustrating thing about this, to the point that if I want to use this and solely this at work, I have to take the single bay charger to work with me, whereas typically with another mod, I could take two 18350s with me, kind of semi-safe in the knowledge that I'm going to be alright, and if I do run out, it's only going to be an hour before the end of the day at worst. So with this, that has been an issue. I was charging batteries twice today at work. Not good. Sort of thumbs down for that, I think.
Yeah, I think that was our only real main issue with this device. Everything else seems to be
there was one other slight issue. It's very slight, but now and again the fire button has stuck in on me. It's not long, so you let your finger off, and after a couple of seconds you'll hear it do the as it pops out again. But it's something to bear in mind, because it's kind of made me think, like, now and again I better check that just to make sure. It's just something worth mentioning. It's not something that happens often. It's just it has happened, so I wanted to mention it. Basically, all.
I did not know about that one.
Yeah, it only happened today, so I don't
know. There we go. Then,
so I forgot to mention it.
But yeah, other than that, this device it performs like any other mod out there on the same sort of price range. It's got variable voltage. The ohms tested is okay. It's not spot on, but it's not going to be for its price. It's going to be one to 2 points out. But then again, that isn't too bad.
Sometimes it's been a little bit more than that out. Sometimes it's bang on. I mean, to be honest, the worst it's been out is by about 0.4. Realistically, if you're testing for ohms, if you're wrapping cores, all you want to know is whether you've shorted it or not. This will still tell you that irrelevantly, but there are other mods that are slightly more accurate than this. It's just this. At times, it's weird because it comes and goes. At times, this is bang on. We'll test it on this. We'll put it on the Bavaria, it's reading exactly the same. And then now and again, I'll go, I swear that was 1.6 earlier, it's now reading 1.9. So just something to bear in mind. But realistically, if you're using this with the CE4s, or you're going to chuck a couple of Clearos on the top of it, you're only after ballparks anyway.
Yeah,
you're not wrapping coils.
You should normally tailor when you're using a variable voltage to the flavour rather than the actual ohms of your device. So it's one of them ones, isn't it, guys? So
it does perform fairly well. Been using like the AGR Carter tank on it. It's been doing an absolutely lovely job with that. I mean, said in the.
I just remember the other flaw. Obviously, we did point this out earlier, but I just want to reiterate that it is a kind of a flaw that when you fully screw down like your eco-friendly types, it is going to cut off your air supply to your device. So you're going to have to just unloose. It's not really that much of a inconvenience, but
maybe it's got like a long eco-friendly. Yeah. I mean, it's not that much of an inconvenience, but for me it's more of an annoyance than anything, because I do like to screw my things down until they're tight. I don't like to sort of be able to do that and have it wobble. I like to do that and it feel like it's one piece. But I mean, I suppose you could quite happily realistically solve that with 510 ego extension and just put it in. Shouldn't have to though, that's the kind of point.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, positives of this device. Obviously it's variable voltage.
Read your ohms.
Read your ohms.
The screen is, I like the fact it's small. I do like the fact that the device in general is small, but the screen is small. When we first got it, it was like, Jesus, that's tiny compared to like every other mod that we've got. And it's actually, although it's smaller, it doesn't seem to have anything less on it. The size of it doesn't seem to impact.
There's a lot more in it than most other ones.
Yeah, but the writing still seems the same size as what it does on.
Yeah, and the battery, it's got the battery indicator on there as well at all times, so you get a little bit more info than you would on any other mod, really. I mean, I think there are a few other mods out there that do tell you your battery life and that, but not ones in this price range.
There you go, unless you're not on the screen at the same time.
No.
So, which is pretty. I mean, I think the more information you can put on the screen, the better. We did say it hasn't got the variable wattage. For me, couldn't care less. I don't use that. I like to tailor my bolts. I don't want it to all be the same at the end of the day. I like each thing to be different. So I don't really think that's a downside for me.
No, I mean,
for some it may be, but for me it's not.
If you're looking for variable wattage, you go and buy a device with variable wattage capability on it. If you're looking for variable voltage and you're buying this one, you've got what you want.
Yeah, definitely.
It really is one of those. I mean, I don't mind using wattage. I seem to use wattage on Cartos. Everything else I use variable voltage. So it's one of them.
Another upside to this device, although we said it does cane them batteries through, and it does. The advantage to an 18350 mod is and batteries are beautifully quick to charge. Within an hour they're fully charged again. So it's kind of, it is and it isn't. Do you know what I mean? The charger itself that you get in the kit isn't a bad little charger. It's got a light indication on it to show when it's charging and when it's full. About the ins and outs of protection.
How long did your 18350 last when you were using it?
What today?
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, anyway, just like give me like a ballpark.
Ballpark.
An hour and a half.
No, realistically 2.5 hours, but I do want to more like 3. But it's not how I would traditionally vape. It's not me. I was at work. I wasn't able to do this. I was running. See, I've got to kind of put this
So if
into
you was
account.
vaping it like 2 hours,
I've got to put this into account. I was running the micro coil basically set up that we just kind of come across, and it was running 8 coils of 0.5 on seriously high volts, so it completely killed it.
yeah. So just bear in mind that even though you've got a charged one battery, your other battery is still going to last you while you're actually doing that one. So it's not too much of a downside. It just is a bit of a downside that it's not actually working like that. So yeah.
Sorry, we're having people knocking the door and everything. But it is, I mean, we have got to take that into account. I was running a 1.8 at 6 volts. So if you're running like a 2 ohm, 2.4 ohm Carto at like 4, it's going to last you a lot longer. And I should have really mentioned that before. And it's only just come to my mind, so my fault probably. But even still, on the Cartos, I did notice the same thing, that it was reading the battery was dead a bit before it actually was. About half life, and on a 3 ohm Carto at about 4.5 volts, I was getting about 5 hours vape time out of it, which I suppose isn't actually that bad, is it? And you do get 2 with it, so 10 hours in between charging. The charger is lovely and small. I'll grab the charger.
But bear in mind, these batteries are going to charge within like an hour and a half. So by the time even long before you run out your other one, your other one's going to be charged. So it's not much of a downside, but you do have to remember, if you are going out, take a couple with you.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I did go out on the whiz a couple of nights ago, and I did go for a couple of batteries, and I ended up using a mechanical. But I've always got spare. This is the charger. It's lovely and simple. I mean, you've got literally a sliding bay there. I believe you're charging it up to an 18650, which is cool. You've got light indication just at the bottom there. Red when it's charging, green when it's done. It's just a simple charger. Knock it into the wall. But I think for the price, you get your entire. I have to work out. There you go. We'll charge an 18650.
All battery sizes.
All battery sizes that you can use in mod. You get your entire kit, sort of charger, batteries, mod, and a couple of C4s for 50 quid. Usually a charger is going to cost you a minimum of a tenner for something like this. That's 40 quid. And then take up the C4s. They're a few quid each. That's say 35 if you're being generous. And then a couple of batteries are going to cost you a tenner. So realistically, for just the Lava, you're only paying about 25 quid. And it's only about a tenner more on the Very Volt Ego, something like that, and it's definitely worth that tenner.
Oh, definitely.
Over the Very Volt Ego all day long. So it has got its flaws, it has, but then every mod's got its flaws.
Oh,
this
definitely.
is no exception to that. They've all got flaws, they've all got ups and downs. I said to I wouldn't be unhappy if I'd paid 50 quid for this. I really wouldn't. I have been quite happy using it. It is now my sort of go-to Very Volt device, basically, because, well, my other one died. My other one died, but even still, even if that hadn't been the case, I still would have quite happy taking this to work. So yeah. It's not a big problem at all whatsoever. I don't really know what else to say. I can't remember what.
Should we go for a little 10 point?
10 point?
5 point.
So we can go for 5 point if you like. Yeah.
Just a little 5 point. Just on the actual
device itself,
not the whole kit, just the device. For looks, I mean, it's not a bad looking little mod. It's very sleek. Very nice, really. It's
you'd preferred it in black, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would have preferred it in black. I do like a lot of my stuff in like black or some sort of colour on it. I have got one silver battery, but yeah. 9?
Looks for me, I'm going to give it a 9. I don't think it's bad looking at all. No. I thought sort of the buttons would be a bit of a pain, but they're not. They're really not. They're quite nice. And I've got shovels. I haven't got hands, and I can use them quite happily. The button on the side is actually nice. Just the only thing I said this to them the other day. I wish the fire button was underneath the other button set, but then the button would be quite low, so they've probably done the right move and stuck it on the side to make sure that you could get the button at the right height, as opposed to having it all in one line.
Yeah,
so it's good for that.
Usability. Well, it's really easy. You put the battery in, you turn it on, 5 clicks. Turn it on, 5 clicks. It's the same as any other Ego, except for just the only thing that's different is the fire button is on the side instead of the same button. So usability, it's a 10. It really is. It isn't hard to use. You haven't got to swap to wattage or anything. It's just your voltage. You've got to tweak up and down.
Usability for me, I did say I wasn't going to mention any other mods to them, and I am going to now. Alright, I'm going to compare this to the Vamo in terms of usability. Usability for this, to check your battery life on the Vamo, you've got to hold a button, alright, and you've got to wait for it, and then it will say sort of 3.7, 4.2, whatever else. This does make it simple for people who don't know what a full charge and an empty sort of 18350, 18650, whatever it is, would be. Alright, So that is a good thing for this. It's got that information there. It hasn't got variable wattage, but then the Vamo was a pain in the ass to get variable wattage. I had to hold both buttons down. And the Vamo also come with a pointless mode that you had to change it out of when you first bought it, which was one of Worm's main bugbears with it. Personally, it's not a big deal, but it's just something that annoys you. With this, you don't get any of that. It's just a simple variable voltage device. Your information's on the screen. It's one click to get your ohms. You haven't got to hold anything. One click to change your volts, and then you push your button and you're away after you've screwed in your ATI. So usability, yeah, it's definitely a 10. I'd say it's even easier than the Vamos to use. You haven't got the wattage, but I never used that anyway, so it don't matter. So yeah, I'm going to get a 10 usability. It's not hard to use at all.
Maintenance, well, the maintenance is literally changing the battery, make sure you've got a charged battery in there. Maybe cleaning out the well if you do flood something or leak over a tank, but that's going to be brought down to user flaw rather than anything else, because you are flooding your devices, then that's your fault. So yeah, so maintenance is literally keeping your batteries charged, making sure you've got a full charged battery in there, or at least a charged battery in there, so it will fire. 10.
Maintenance, like what I just said, it's a bit of cleaning. Sorry guys, I'm going to stop pouring this drink. Really, really poor. Yeah, the maintenance is just a little bit of cleaning and whacking a fully charged battery in there, turning it on. There's not really anything to maintain with any mod, really, is there?
No, not really.
With any mod, if you have to make the only maintenance comes is if it breaks.
Yeah.
And this has been through its paces well over a week now, and I've been absolutely abusing this, and it's absolutely fine. Still up to everything I've thrown at it. Like I say, even though I was running 1.8 micro coil in an A7 on 6 volts all last night and all day today, it still hasn't blown up or anything like that. So yeah, maintenance is just as easy as it can be, easy as any other mod is at 10.
Obviously guys, we can't do flavour and vape on this one because
I think we should maybe put build quality and price into there.
Yes, build quality and price.
Yeah, I think we should do build quality and price.
Build quality. I've kind of got to compare this to other devices. I'm not going to say what other devices, but I'm just going to say compared to other devices in its range, it's a bit lower because it is light. It doesn't feel as well built. I mean, the screw threads are all right. They're just not as good as other devices we've got and tried. But I do want to be fair with this because it is very small and very sleek. So
it's more on the feel than there is actually any wrong with it. If that makes any sense.
Just on that, it's 7.5.
I'm going to do the same as well. I know exactly what device he's comparing it to because it's exactly what I would compare it to. Build quality compared to that device isn't as good. It's not, but that's not necessarily saying this is bad.
No.
This, if I'm totally honest, this feels slightly cheaper. But that being said, it is beautifully light. It is very, very small, and it's not a bad looking mod at all. Build quality for me, I'm going to give it a 7. The only thing that could have bumped that up realistically, if you kept everything the same, would be that bottom cap. If that was slightly heavier, right, it feels almost sort of it's very, very light, and that screw threading kind of getting in there. But once you've got it bitten, it's in there. Build quality for me, I'm going to give it a 7. I don't think it's bad. I've felt a lot worse, but
no, I think for its price range, that's a good kind of standard it's hitting. What was the last one? Overall, wasn't it?
Price.
Price.
And then.
Oh yeah, price. For its price.
It comes in overall, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to go straight to overall. I mean, we're going to kind of put price in there. For its price overall, it's quite good. It really is. It's not the best mod out there, but for its price, you don't expect the best mod. So for its price, it's got to be like a 9. For just as it is, it's an 8. Just that's comparing it to like pretty much all mods across the board. It's like an 8, and that's being kind of generous there. It's just because it's so small and like nice in your hand
compared to other mods without bringing price in at all. Well, you've been very generous, I think.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's just because it's so nice in your hand when you're actually using it. It's
a very good size.
That's what I like about it.
And I think because the buttons on the side, you can choose what any fingers to kind of mouth in. Like it's not really
that is kind of a positive to me. So.
For its price, as a kit, it's not a bad price at all. Actually, it really isn't. No matter what mod you're looking at buying, you're going to have batteries to run the mod. You're going to have a charger to charge those batteries. The fact you get instructions and a nice presentation box, for me, it's trivial, but it's a thumbs up. It is a thumbs up because if nothing else, that box gets recycled. That holds my juice. So that's good, and it's good. You get it sort of out of the box. All you need to do really is buy this and juice, and you're good to go. So for its price, I'm going to give it an 8. I don't think it's bad at all by any stretch of the imagination. And if you buy this, you're definitely not going to be unhappy with it. In fact, I'd quite happily buy this myself. compared to other mods, price irrelevant. I mean, ask me that.
Well, that.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about that. Like, I mean, if you're going price irrelevant, you're kind of comparing those, and that's a 50 quid kit. That's 250 quid without anything else, without the charger to run the bloody thing.
Yeah, that's like a 20. So
this is what I'm saying. You can't. It's hard to sort of compare it to other stuff without bringing price into the equation, because realistically, in this price range,
I'm just saying, like, for a mod,
in general, it's not bad at all.
The kind of the plus things that I look for in like these sort of devices, it just shouts 8 to me.
Shouts 8.
I mean, it's just the little things. I mean, overall, the Ohmstage is not going to beat this by any long stretch.
Nothing on this will beat that.
No.
All right, but that's a Provari or Provari. This is a lava tube. They're completely different leagues.
No, that's
they are. I think I'm going to do overall, but I'm going to for the price because I think it's just you can't compare two things that realistically aren't even in the same league. I don't think anyway. Because if I was to give this an 8. I wouldn't be talking about that.
I kind of meant it more like if you had 50 quid to spend on a mod.
Also, it's for a price.
That's what you would, yeah.
Yeah, all right, for the price.
But like,
it's good. I mean, for its price, the fact you get the entire kit, all you need to do is buy juice. I'll give it an 8 as well. I'll quite happily give that an 8.
Yeah.
Because it is nice and easy to use, and I think the fact that it gets C4s with it. If you've been using stuff like, I don't know, if you started off on something like a simple pass-through with a CE5, for example, and you want to improve your vape experience, so then bought yourself something like an Ego, variable volt Ego, for say 15, 20 quid. And you'd have to buy a charger for that as well, usually. Not all, but some you do. If you then moved on to this, you'd be quite happy with it, because you'd have a couple of Cleros already, you get a couple more sort of disposable Cleros with it, you chuck it on there, and you're like, wow, the difference in there is amazing. And I think that's something definitely worth pointing out. It's easy to buy a kit. That gives you everything you need. All you've got to do is chuck juice on. So what, 10, 15 quid for some juice on delivery, 65 quid, and you're getting a very, very good vape experience for the money, I think.
Oh, definitely.
In comparison, because things like Egos, like your spinners or whatever they are, that you've got that vary the volt on a standard Ego setting with just a small chip set in there, they're limited. They are limited. So you buy them.
Well, 250. 4.8, isn't it? So,
well, limited in terms of volts. They don't do what this can do. They'll go to 3.2, usually to 4.8, or 3 to 6 if you're lucky. But they won't deliver that voltage as accurately as this kind of thing will. And also, after sort of 250 charges to 500 charges, that thing's dying. It will last you 2-3 hours. Whereas this, your batteries start to deplete, chuck it out, spend 6-7 quid and get a couple more. The mod, as long as nothing happens to that chipset or anything else in there, which it shouldn't do if you don't mistreat it, it's only going to be an initial outlay, and then you chuck a new one in. You buy an Ego, you're going to buy a brand new one every year at least. You just are. And I think that's worth thinking about if you're looking at this kind of thing and spending a little bit more money. You might as well get something that is, in the long run, it's going to serve you the best and eventually it will save you money. So I think that's good, and you get a better vape experience because of it, which is what we all want, let's face it. So overall for this, yeah, I'd recommend this as a kit, especially if you kind of like the look of the chrome and the fact you can get it in black, which the other mod that I compared it to before, you can't get in black, which is a big thumbs up, because things are either silver or black. It's just how it is. Why would you not sell something in black? But they sell it in black, so you can get it in black, and yeah, I think that'd be equally as good looking, and with certain setups even better. So that's wicked. I would quite happy to say, yeah, for 50 quid you can't really go wrong with this kit. It's not a bad little device. Nothing's gone wrong with it. Performed just as well as the other mods in its price range. You can't really fault it for that.
Well, the only difference is that we would buy it in black instead of silver. Other than that,
I quite like it silver, to be honest. It's just, I wish it was silver and not chrome. Because when that sun comes out, it's like, oh my chrome. Where are my glasses? But it's like that with every chrome mod, so what can you do? It's very reflective.
Yes, I think we're done on this one, guys.
I think we are done.
This is a nice little mod. If you've got 50 quid and you're looking into buying an easy starter mod, go in the lava tube.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I've been Mr. Proton. It's been the Worm.
See you soon, guys.